Okay, here we go. Drawing a realistic eye. Very exciting. The photo that I used is from Pixabay, and I changed the color of the eye. So it was a little challenging for me. I didn't like the bright green eye that the original reference photo was, so I changed it to a hazel eye. Um, that's why you see I started out with a bright green or bright turquoise blue mixing with yellow, thinking I would get a really cool hazily green. And I did, happy. This was a base coat and undercoat. And the yellow comes through in the final layers. It's a really bright yellow. It's lemon yellow. The really, really bright yellow that I used was from Derwent Lightfast Lemon Yellow. And this color is a green yellow from Polychromos, and I used that color a lot for the shadows, for the outline. I wanted to keep that really bright turquoise blue you see underneath. I wanted that to show as kind of a glow for the outer edges of the eye. And I'm happy with it. It's just very subtle, which is exactly what I was going for. Now this this is cream. This is what I use to blend all the colors together. This is a really nice color, kept everything bright. It didn't turn into mud on me. The yellow in the middle is the yellow ochre. And now this is black just to keep my edges and to keep my line. Now I'm using a reddish brown, burnt umber type, burnt sienna actually I should say, for the reddish brown near the pupil of the eye. And this is a very strong pigment, so I just did a little bit, and now I'm going over very lightly. My brush has very little OMS, odorless mineral spirits, has just a touch on it, and I'm blending out the edges, and I'm going to blend that burnt sienna color, that little orangey color I wanted, brick color I guess. And I have that really bright yellow underneath and that other cream color. So it's under there, it's still coming through. I'm going to keep it bright, and then I will go over it to create more of a yellow with that Derwent Lightfast Sun Yellow. Now I'm doing the inside of the eye here. I did the violet gray or gray violet from Caran d'Ache for the whites of the eyes, and I did cinnamon in the corner there. I did red violet, and also the caput mortem. That is a great color for the inside of the eyes there. And this color I just love. This is from Derwent Lightfast, called Light Aqua. And it's a beautiful light blue, great for just some highlights, that sort of thing. Going again here with the violet gray. I used that a lot, and I blended it with white, with the pink white from Caran d'Ache. That's a great color. And also did some cinnamon from Polychromos for the pink parts in there. And also towards the end, there's some cinnamon. Towards the end, I did a few of the flesh colors from Caran d'Ache, Polychromos, these pinky flesh colors, which they did change the name. So one is called light red or something. I'm kind of not familiar with the new names totally yet. Just filling in here with taupe. There's a great taupe color that I used on the eyebrows from Derwent Lightfast. Really like that color. Getting some dark color in here in the crease This is some yellow ochre. Going more yellow, wanting to keep it bright, and mixing in a little turquoise. This is Caran d'Ache, very strong pigment, so I didn't want to do a lot. And mixing with the yellow, kind of getting a dark, deep green there. So now I'm doing the khaki green, I think, with Polychromos over. Now I'm getting my shadows in, I'm getting my lines. I'm starting to work on my values with the eyes. And it is getting darker. The reason it looks very light on one side is I was trying to follow the highlights for this green eye, and you can see it looks funny with the highlights on the far side of the eye. So I knew that was not going to work out. So I did some more turquoise, and I'm trying to get the highlights the way they are on the reference photo, but it just doesn't work out because they're really super, there's a lot of them, too many really, honestly. I think this person was looking at a lot of windows, and they were just, it was a lot of white, so it just wasn't looking natural to me. So I changed it up, which is something great that we can do as artists. Here is actually that taupe. I think that was that taupe. And getting some definition in here now, adding some browns, some red browns, walnut browns, and getting the lines for the lashes. So preparing to do the lashes. There's the cream color, getting some highlights in there. I want to make sure the lids don't get dull or anything. Adding some more pink. This is cinnamon, I think. And getting into the lid now. I'm really focusing on the crease in the eye. That is going to be a big kind of a guide for me as far as the lid and where the lashes are going. And I actually don't like where the lid is, so I use the electric eraser here coming up, because the lid was a little too high, or the crease was a little too high. So I use the electric eraser, going over with the Caran d'Ache pink white or white pink, not really sure which one. A little more eraser, just a little bit. I'm using Fabriano Artistico, and the paper is pretty durable. It's hot press watercolor paper, pretty durable. Went over it with a little cream, just a tad of a little orange there, and that's ivory right there from Polychromos. Now blending in the lid. And I'm letting that just sit for a while, see if I like that where the crease is. And I'm going to add some white highlights. There are a lot of little, very fine, super thin white highlights. So it's very difficult to get such a thin line, even with, you can see right there, I'm actually showing my students, look at, that's the line I want to get. Is that super thin line? So I do as light as I can, and I let it dry and then go over it with colored pencils. So basically I apply a little too much white, because I can go over it with colored pencil and blend it in. This is the Uni Pen white from the Posca. And I also am trying out another white pen just for a few spots, and I'm not sure I love it, but I used the Posca pen for the majority of the white highlights in this tutorial. And I like to blot with my finger a little bit because it just blends it in, gives it kind of a natural looking highlight. And now, after it's dried, here is that Derwent Lightfast Lemon Yellow that really brightens up the eye. keeps it kind of glossy looking. And so even though I did go over it with some deep green after I did the yellow, I went over it with some dark green and some black. You can see that yellow is still coming through. If you would like to see this real time, please visit mollysfineartacademy.com. There is a beginner's colored pencil course that I offer, and there's also a monthly membership that I offer. This eye tutorial and this eye study I did in our membership, and there are easy, fun to follow tutorials in the beginner's colored pencil online course at mollysfineartacademy.com/course. Okay, back to the drawing. You can see I'm doing the eyelashes. I'm using Polychromos black, very, very fine point, and I am taking my time. It may look like I'm going real time, but actually this is sped up. So I'm really taking my time here doing the lashes. I penciled them in with a very light gray. Oh, and I also went very lightly with my black. So I had, it might not be as easy to tell with the camera, but I did have some very light shade of the lashes as my first layer. Then I go over them again and again to get the darkness that I want. So it takes time. I didn't rush it. The bottom ones, I did black, and then I also did a, let me just double check here. I think I did a burnt sienna for the blondes, the blonde edges there. I didn't really worry too much about those. Now here I am getting the little veins in the eyes, which are a big, really pulls it all together when you do the veins in the eyes. And that I used the pink salmon from Polychromos. Then I did some of the Caput Mortem and some red violet. Very lightly. I didn't do much at all. Blended it in with a little white, going over it again. So it doesn't really take much. Now I went back to the lashes, getting them darker, doing my very final layers here. And I also erased the tips there because they are too dark, the outer edges of the lashes. They don't look natural, so I ended up erasing, just blotting them with my kneaded eraser to have them fade out, because lashes naturally kind of fade out. They don't look natural if they're really thick at the very ends there. So color pencils takes time, right? And your details, your final detail layers can take as long as your second or third layers. So it's definitely patience time. You can see I'm erasing right there. Kind of helps, gives it some definition. They're not just all the same, the same value. It's all about values. Even in eyelashes, it's all about values. Make sure the darks are dark enough and the lights are light enough. So now I'm darkening up the middle part of the lashes, basically where she put mascara on. That's where the mascara hits, right at the base of the lashes. So they are definitely darker. I'm using black Polychromos, very sharp pencil. I'm starting to fill them in now. Even with eyelashes, it's all about the values. Gotta make the darks dark enough and the lights light enough. I move down to the bottom lashes here, and I just get the dark right on the very, pretty much on the edge of the lash, the base of the lashes, because again, that's where she had put mascara on. Just a little bit on her lower lash, and I'm getting some detail. The devil is in the details on the little inner eye there, touching up with some white, trying to get that white line that really gives it that moist look effect, and going to touch up, getting a little white. There we go. Here what I did was I actually put a little of the white pen in there, and I used my pencil to move it around where I wanted it to get that super thin line. Then I just went next to it with a cold gray. And the cold gray, when you put something dark next to something light, the light ends up looking lighter. The lighter value will end up looking lighter. So now just blending that in, getting a couple little fine details here, making sure my values are dark enough in here, getting it to really come alive now. And that's usually what happens with the final layers. Never ever get discouraged when you're in the middle of a drawing, when you're in the quote unquote ugly stage, because it just takes more layers and it just takes more detail. I mean, look at the fine, super fine detail I'm doing here. When I go right next to the white with the dark color, the white really pops and it gives it that moist, realistic looking effect. And I'm blending it in a little bit, smoothing it out. And this is a wax, this is the Caran d'Ache white. And I noticed there are lots of like little texture in the skin, the little pores and that sort of thing. So that's what I'm doing right there. Just getting some final little details in. And here is the final finished drawing. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial today. If you like this and would like to see the real-time tutorial, please join my membership, Colored Pencil membership at mollysfineartacademy.com/membership. Or if you'd like a beginner's colored pencil course, you can also find it at mollysfineartacademy.com/course. Thank you, fellow artists, for watching, and I hope to see you in class.